Oh, can we start the music again? Or I don't even know if we're live. Oh, there we are. Hi, we're live.
Yeah.
Can we start it again? Editing.
It's just on delay. The Wi-Fi
Okay.
is killing us.
Welcome to Sexual Frequency, a non-judgmental place where we can play, explore, and vibe into the new paradigm of intimacy and sexuality together. I am your host, Goddess Lore, and I'm glad to be back in the studio with all of you after a much needed mental health break. It's all good. We all need it every now and then. Tonight is June 1st, and we all know what that means, baby. It's Pride Month, and we are celebrating. Sexual Frequency welcomes every part of you. Our vision here is that one day we will all be able to live our most authentic selves without fear, without guilt, shame, or anything other than joy, happiness, and peace. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Yes, Lord. Let's do this. Let's manifest that into reality. This month, I want us to celebrate everyone in the queer and LGBTQ plus community who have come before us and paved the way for an open future. There was much pain and joy in their journey, and we are in so much gratitude for the way that they have embodied living authentically and striving for equality. We still have a ways to go, but because of them, we continue the journey towards equality in love. Not tolerance, not acceptance, but genuine love for each other as human beings. So, cheers, queers, to living our best life. Chin,
Cheers.
chin. Let me take a sip. Mm-mm. And you guys know that I don't come alone. Always with me is the one and only Rick Rock with a hard cock.
Ew.
What's
Hey.
good, baby?
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing?
I'm good.
Good. It's good to be back.
Good.
Had a little
We back.
little 2-week mini vacay, I guess.
On hardly a vacay, but we had a little bit of time off, but that's okay.
True that.
Mental vacay.
Yes,
Mental
we did. We had a mental vacay. The times have been on the heavy side, so it didn't feel good to come on and talk about masturbation tips when we were having such a dark moment with what happened in Texas.
Yeah.
So, but we are back, and let's continue with the introductions. It's the
Yes.
first of the month, so you know what that means. It means that it is time for Horny astrology with the high priestess.
Wake up.
It's the first of the month. We know that the reggaeton is coming to a close. That bitch is gonna finally like move forward like we all should and not live in the past. So I'm excited to see what's coming up in the month of June. How are you doing tonight, priestess?
I'm great. Be back for my second segment.
Yes.
Second segment.
This is the second to it.
Yeah. So excited and hope you guys dig it.
Hey, can you dig it?
Can you dig it?
We can dig it. We went in separate directions, but alas, we are back, and I am so excited for our guest, our special guest tonight, all the way from the Yay area, philanthropist from Bara Productions, very own Mr. Robert Bara, Funny Robbie
What's
Rob
up?
himself.
What's up?
Hey Hey, girl.
Hey, girl, hey.
Damn.
Ew, I like to say, hey,
Rob,
yeah,
how
yeah.
are you? What number is that, Rob? Ooh, I love that one. Hey, yeah.
Yes,
I really wanted to have Robbie on because it was almost to the day 2 years ago that I met Robbie in person when he was
right.
a guest on Ladies Night. Yes, in
Yes.
the flesh. We got to hug, we got to kiki, have a good
We
time. And so we wanted to have him on to share, some of his puterias and upcoming projects. Were you gonna say something,
a
Rob?
lot
Go
of
ahead.
putarias. A lot of putarias, especially at the age of 39.
Hey, 39 and feeling fine. 39 and looking fine. Ella,
Right?
ella.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we dive into it with Robbie, let's see what we got going on in the chat.
Okay, in the chat we got Chia is in the chat, Marlena's in the chat saying good evening, hotties. Chia saying hi, babies, cheers, queers. By the way, girls, let me know if you guys can hear us. If we're coming out okay, give me some feedback on the comments if you can hear
Okay,
music and whatnot.
and I was gonna say this. I did not know that. I'm not mistaken that today is Chia's born day, is it not?
What?
Yes,
Is
if
it?
we're talking
It's
about the right
today's Chia's
Chia.
birthday, yes?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Chia.
Robbie's like, yes, yes, it is. Chia, baby. The birthday queen. Tell me that I'm right because I texted you happy birthday. So I hope I'm right, girl. I hope that I'm right. It's always a great time when Chia and Marlena are in the chat. I love you guys. Thank you for joining. And again, before we dive into it with Robbie for the first time, and the time that we were out, Bad Bunny declared that summer is motherfucking here. And we know our calendars are filling up very quickly. And we want to make sure that you have the most memorable events. So let's get that pre roll, baby.
Yeah, let's get that pre-roll started. It's loading real quick.
Oh,
All right, here we
loading.
go. Actually, it's still loading, but yes. Tonight's show. Let's hope it plays here. Come on. Okay, there it goes. It's a little low, but here we go. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it is Chia's
on a delay here.
birthday.
Okay, anywho, tonight's show sponsored by 360 Photo Booth Expert. Whether you're looking to purchase or rent a 360 photo booth for your next event, visit 360photoboothexpert.com. 1 second here. I also forgot
You're good,
to
baby. Just
do.
keep
All right,
going.
here we go. 10 years of being in the photo booth industry, they are always going above and beyond with excellent service and help, and they also speak Spanish. So visit
Espanol.
360photoboothexpert.com and click on the Get in Touch tab. And don't forget to use promo code Sexual Frequency for our special discount.
Yes, did y'all hear that? There is a motherfucking promo code. Look, do you want your event to be like blah, like any other event? You show up, there's have a little drink, have some tacos. You want to have something that's gonna stand out. Photo booth, the 360 photo booth is like the latest photo booth that is out there, and you get to put that spotlight on yourself and on your guests, and it's pretty fun. We had it for our live show, and we had a freaking blast. Marlena was a part of that. I did one. Priestess, did you do a
I
360
did
photo booth?
one, but it was a fail. I had never done them before, and
Uh,
if you haven't, you can get confused. So Kale and I did one, and Kale didn't move at all, and then I was like, I just looked at them. So you got to be ready.
no such thing. No such thing. But yes, shout out to our sponsors. Thank you to them. Um, look them up because you know what, they're amazing, and book a what is it called, like an expiration call, because you can get one for your own business. So elevate your business to the next level
Ooh,
also, because you could rent that bitch out and make
Yeah.
money.
nice.
There's options. There's things that we could do here. Um,
I can't hear you.
troubleshoot whatever it is that's going on.
I hear
If you
ya. I hear
can,
ya.
Okay.
Yay.
Yay.
Rob is back.
Yes.
Yay. Also, you
Give us a little thumbs up if you can hear us in the chat. I was just letting the people know, Robbie, how we met through Clubhouse. I met Chia through
Yes.
Clubhouse, Marlena through Clubhouse, Robbie through Clubhouse during the pandemic. It was a crazy time. And now we've all like met in person. I think it would be great when you come to LA. We should have like a gathering. You know, maybe we go to the beach or WeHo or I don't know, somewhere
Or maybe
fun.
just a sex club. I don't know.
Oh my god, yes, we can go to Threshold. I still have not gone. That would be really fun. Thanks for
Yes,
letting us know.
we'll
Tell me,
take,
Robbie, who are we taking?
we're taking you, we're taking Rick with the hard cock because I want to see if this cock is really hard. You know, I'm just gonna stare at it. I'm just gonna stare at it.
Robbie is like, I want the receipts.
Exactly. I want the
Pics
receipts,
or it
and then
doesn't
I
matter.
want like a test that says I am not the mother.
I love that. So tonight is a special night with Mr. Robbie Rob. And I decided that for Cochina Chronicles, I am gonna let Rob take over.
Okay.
Because he has a lot of great stories that we kiki and we talk about. So I was like, how great would it be to have Robbie take over Cochina Chronicles? We're setting up his song right now. Are you ready, Robbie?
I
Are you
sure
ready for
am. I'm
your
always ready for
Cochina
cochina.
Chronicles? Hey.
Yeah.
Okay, take it away, boo. Tell us your Cochina Chronicles story. We're all
Okay,
ears.
so don't ask me how old I was, but I was very naive and innocent. And I think I wasn't really working at the time. I just finished college. Um, and Craigslist was a thing back then. So I'm outdating my age and like probably a lot
Yes,
of
it
people
was.
Like, who's Craigslist? Who is Craig? So at the time, I remember specifically I had gotten this small little like the mini like little laptops that you can just, they're very small, whatever. My mom bought it for me for
Yeah.
Christmas. And so I had it. And of course, Craigslist was easy at that time. So I'm just a sucker for bad boys. So I like cholos, I like thugs, I like anything that can hurt me, to the point where maybe they might steal my shit. So so I put out
Ricky, oh my God, I love it.
so I'm on Craigslist. I end up meeting this cholo, scrawny cholo, tatted up. And he, at the time I was staying at my mom's
Oh, wait,
place.
can I pause you real quick? Scrawny
Yes.
cholo, does that equal big dick?
No. But I was very impressed because he had a piercing.
Aw, collective sigh.
Yeah. I was
Okay, he's
noticed
making up
that
for
he had a
it.
pierce. Yeah. So anyways, so I thought he was cute, on paper, meaning on this Craigslist ad that I put out there. And then he comes over to my place and I'm by myself. It's like maybe 11 o'clock. So it's like, okay, I was almost about to have lunch, And so he comes in, mind you, let's just keep in mind that I have a lot of things out like in my mom's place. So I have my laptop on my kitchen table, and so to get to where we were going to have our activities, there's a hallway. It goes through the kitchen and through the living room. So anyways, so we do our thing. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to be a messy girl. So I'm not going to do anything on my mom's couch because heaven forbid I'm a Catholic. So I can't be doing anything on mom's couch or bed. So the carpet is perfect. So we do our thing. We do our little thing on the floor. And
The carpet is perfect.
yeah. So the experience was okay. Like, I mean, I had been kind of lightweight, whatever you want to call dating cholos or hooking up with cholos since I was like 18. So I'm just saying, like, I was probably like maybe in my late 20s when this happened. So since I was 18 to like late 20s, I was dealing with cholos. So I ended up, so we do our thing. And of course, I was like, his thing wasn't all that great. Like the only thing that impressed me is that he had a pierced dick. And so I was like, okay, this is interesting because it had, it hit all the walls. It did what it did. So when we're done, he goes like, oh, can I take a shower? And I was like, oh my God, this cholo wants to take a shower
Yes,
with
I
me.
love it.
Like, I was like, when is a cholo ever romantic? So I was like, yeah, boo. Like, I didn't use boo because boo wasn't a thing back then. So I was like, yeah, boo. So, like I take him to the shower and like he gets in first and I decided to get in. And then he's like, oh no, can I just shower by myself? And I was like, I was a little offended, but then I was like, oh my God, like he doesn't like showering with another woman. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I let him shower. He gets out and it was like 5 minutes. He gets out and then he goes, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take a shower. Pendeja decides to take a long ass shower, meaning like 10, 15 minutes of a shower. Between that time that he stepped out, dried himself off, he decided to manage to take my laptop and out the door. I come out and I was like, boo, boo. I mean, babe, where are you at? And I like look around. He's nowhere to be found. My laptop's nowhere to be found. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to tell my mom? What am I going to tell her? But it doesn't. Wait, hold up. So I'm literally in my towel. I go outside
Oh no.
screaming, like, where the fuck is this fucking asshole? And my cousin rolls up in his car, one of my cousins, and he's like, cousin, are you, because I have a cousin that lives next door to me. But he rolls up to visit our mutual cousin, and he's like, what's going on? Like, why are you in your towel? And I'm all, a fucking cholo took my fucking laptop. Did you see him when you rolled up? And he's like, no, I didn't see anybody come out of your house. So then he's like, you might want to put in a police report. And I'm like, this is so embarrassing. Like, how am I going to explain this to my mom? How am I going to, like, say anything? And so the cops show up. And at that time, back in like, who knows when, because I was like 29, the cops came, easily. Now cops don't come. And so,
Oh my
so the
God.
cops
Right?
show up and he's like, so what happened? And I was like, so I explained the whole thing like I just did. And he's like, well, do you want to press charges? And I'm like, could I press charges? Like, I mean, how am I supposed to explain this? Like, if I have to go to court and I see him in court, like, what am I going to tell my mom? So I'm thinking of every lie that I could tell my mom, but also potentially tell like the officer, like, I don't want to get him in trouble. Like, what if he comes
Name on
back?
Craigslist, Cholo
And
Sin
like,
Barrio.
right. And what if he like, like what if he tags my house? What if he tries to pop, like my mom's tire? Like I'm thinking all these crazy thoughts. And the officer was like, and the police cop car, they have their little laptop, they look up everything. So he's like, well, is this guy out of the closet? And I'm like, officer, he's a cholo from East San Jose. Do you think he's out of the closet? He just probably got out of prison. And he goes, well, what do you think his name is or whatever? And like, I'm like, at that time, people gave their real name. So I was like, well, it's his name. He pulls up the guy's name with the picture and he goes, is this him? Like this? And I was like, that's him. That's him. And then he's like, okay, well, there's nothing we could do, but here's the police report. And, next time just be safer, like don't, like basically you're stupid.
Don't take a shower.
Don't take a shower is the point of the story, is the principle. Do not take, if your papi says you don't want to take a shower with you, just stay out of the shower. Don't need, you can clean your coochie afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
So that's my Cuchina
Oh my God,
chronicles for
that's
tonight.
hilarious.
Cheers to that.
I love it. That was so good. Cheers to the Cholo Sin Barrio. Listen, I have been I don't know if this is still acceptable to say, but it was back in my day. I have been a fag hag for over 20 years. My friends gave me that name. And yes, back in the day, or like, 19, early 20s, there was so many what they used to call tea parties back in the day, where you used to
Yes.
go in LA in the hood, and it was nothing but cholos.
Right.
Nothing
Yes.
but cholos, like, and the first time I went to a tea party, I was like, I was floored because you had all these like big tough ass thug guys, like dancing with guys and making out with guys, and it just was a whole new world for me. So I understand the appeal of the cholo. I definitely
Yes.
do.
I still haven't gotten an
Bad
Emmy
boy.
for it, but eventually it might become a movie and then I'll get an Emmy or an Oscar or whatever for it, for being the best, person to take a shower for 10,
Listen,
15 minutes.
I'm manifesting that being one day in Outfest. It'll be in between films.
Right.
It'll be the No Te Bañes story.
Right. And that might just be the title. Seen laptop, seen
It might
shower.
just be the
Right
title.
there.
Look, that really made me think. People think that it's hard today to find a hookup or like be out there, but back in the day, think about it. Craigslist, that's was available.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was like, you have no clue
Right.
who the fuck you're
You can't Google anybody.
right.
Google doesn't fucking exist. Like, we're gonna fucking Google. Like, no, the cops had Google. Clearly, they knew who this guy was.
Yeah,
Like Nico
clearly.
said, like not a robbery fetish.
And I've always had like this story in the back of my head, like maybe one day they will call me to go in to testify against him for taking my little HP laptop for my putaria. And how embarrassing.
Oh
would
my
that be?
God, I love it. You know what? This is funny because I think maybe Priestess, this is why you were thinking what you were thinking yesterday.
I know, it was like it was a premonition or something.
So yesterday, Priestess and I are talking, and I mentioned my little PYT who might be coming through later tonight. You know, my pretty young thing, and she was like, she's like, how do how do you do it when you like meet with someone or you hook up with someone? So I'm thinking like she's wanting to meet or hook up with someone and asking me like, what questions do you ask? She's basically like, "No, bitch, I'm scared you're gonna get like choked or robbed."
And I was like, I don't know what it was, but like something came up recently that like I just started thinking about that. And you ask the right questions, you whatever, but you're still in your new groove. So I'm like, okay, I want to make sure this bitch is safe and she's doing all
Yeah.
the right things.
I think maybe this is why you thought of it though, because you had the premonition that funny Robbie Rob was gonna come on and share his story about
Right.
being a puta and getting robbed.
How Robbie got robbed.
Yeah, Bobby got robbed for sure, for sure.
Oh my God, I love it.
The crazy part of all of this is that like I think he even stole like my socks. Like I'm just like, really? Really? You needed a pair of socks because your socks that you took off were cochino. Like it was like, really, you stole my socks with my laptop. Like, I mean, and thank God he only had that amount of time to only take that because I was freaking out. Like I was going through my mom's stuff. I was going through like the whole house. Like he could have stole this, he could have stole that. And like, luckily, because I'm like, but that fool, like, you know how they say, like, the hand is quicker than the eye. Bitch, be prepared if you're hooking up with just somebody. Make sure that fucking eye and that hand is quicker. Whether you're going or he's coming over. Make sure the hand is quicker than the eye.
Right. Hold on to your socks. So I
Yeah.
have to ask you, what did you end up telling your mom? What happened to your
So I
laptop?
told her that I took a shower, so that's the truth. And that I had left the door open when I came in to grab the mail a little bit open. It's sold. It's sold. That's all I'm saying. It's sold.
That's a good one.
Does she know? Does she know the true story now, or does she still believe that?
I
Does she still
mean,
believe what you told her? Or does she know the story?
she probably could hear me because she lives like right there. And so
If she's
the walls are
watching,
very thin.
hi, Mom.
Right. Hi.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
This has been one of my favorite Cuchina Chronicles. Like this has been.
I don't know
This
who
is
could top it.
great. So let's get into it a little bit because I don't know. I think we might have to have a competition for season. I like this. Um, Robbie, I want you to let the people know a little something about yourself. Like, just let us know, who is Robbie?
Um, who am I? Wow. I think that's a very good question because I feel at 39, I don't even know who I truly am. And again, that's probably for another conversation or maybe when I go down in July. But I think who I am, professionally who I am, I started doing, stand-up comedy since 2009. And I took a little break in 2011, probably 2014, sorry, 2014, just because like, comedy, people that get into comedy or anything in the entertainment industry, like your talent, your creative side doesn't pay you a 9 to 5 job. So it's like having opportunities to go out to different cities to be able to do open mics for free wasn't cutting it for me. I'm, was living, clearly with my mom and my family, which I still am. I live next door to my mom. So technically I say that I live with my mom. So when you get into this kind of creative outlet, it's like you still got to have that 9 to 5. And it wasn't allowing me. And, I did do some comedy shows out at John Lovett's Comedy Club, at Universal
Nice.
Studios, at the beginning of time, back, I think, when I started in probably 2010, 2011. And then just kind of doing open mics. But what I noticed about the industry itself, and this is just personally, I don't know about any other comedian, but I I think I'm a pretty funny person. I think I'm funny. I'm not the one to do the like, let me do a punchline type of comedy. I'm more of a storyteller. I've learned that over even after I stopped doing, on stage, stand up. I noticed that about myself. So back then when I started, like a lot of comedians who happened to be straight, lack for a better words, happen to be male guys, guys who happen to be straight. I felt like I was a threat to them because, like, I would get a lot of people, coming up to me, and I was part of other people's shows who were headliners. Like, I used to do shows with Frankie Quinones, Cholo Fit guy.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody knows who Cholo Fit guy
Yeah.
is, like
Yeah.
he was doing, he was doing headlines and I was hosting or I was doing shows with him. So I was doing shows with, him and Felipe Esparza and, some of these other
That's dope.
comedians who are now higher. But here, at least in the Bay Area, I noticed the ones that are local that haven't even made it big yet, were very greedy, but also, very jealous. And so I was like, you know what? I needed to step away from that. And so luckily in 2014, I kind of had like a rebrand, like, what do I want to get into next? And I knew that I always wanted to still be in entertainment. I don't know how, I don't know what, but I was like, I still want to be in this type of industry, this type of world. So luckily I had a good friend of mine and we had a conversation and she was like, Mijo, like, what do you want to get into next? Like, you're at the time I was doing event marketing for a small events company here in the Bay Area or here in San Jose. And I was like, I want to do red carpet events. Like, I want to do events like that at that level. Like, and she's like, I know the perfect person for you. So she connected me with one of her friends. This friend of mine and also a mentor who has been kind of grooming me took me under her wings, and I started helping her producing diversity and inclusion events, one that she did for 5 years, at Sundance Film Festival, not for Sundance but at Sundance Film Festival, and that kind of just sparked my fire for being more of like this hosting events or kind of opening up this door, not just for myself, but for others to talk about the conversation of like Latinx in media and entertainment.
Yes.
So she gave me that push. She's helped me. And right around that same time frame, I started getting involved with Outfest Los Angeles. And I know you probably haven't even asked this question, but I'm just going to go with it.
Yes, go with it.
Yeah. And so how I got involved with Outfest at the same time was Facebook had these different organizations putting these, like, they're called drawings, they're not raffles, on Facebook. And I was like, Outfest Los Angeles, what is that? I didn't know, Outfest Los Angeles is one of the big, premier LGBTQIA, plus film festival in Hollywood. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I signed up for this drawing, and it was a 3-night stay in downtown LA, walk the red carpet. And so I won it. And I was like, so I went down there. My friend was living at the time, or still is, and I took him as my guest. And I remember sitting in the audience and I'm like, wow, there's only like me and you. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, we're probably like two of like maybe 20 other Latinos or people of color in this audience.
Right.
The rest are all white gay males. Like, this needs to change, especially in an industry where we lack that. We lack Latinx, we lack women of color, we lack, people of color in this industry. And so I reached out to their development director and I was like, how can I get involved? How can I become a member? And I joined their Emerging Leaders Council. And from there, I became the level of membership was an executive producer member.
Mhm.
And then I started being involved in terms of like sponsoring some of the emergent leaders events.
Mhm.
And so from there, tagged with being involved with diversity events with my friends, I was like, I'm still involved, number one, but number two, it's like this is where I meant to be. Not to say that I wouldn't go back to comedy, but for right now, in the moment or at that time that I was living, I'm like, let me just
Mhm.
live this moment. Let me gain experience. Let me put myself out there. And with that, I felt like not only did I gain the experience, but I gained authentic relationships within
Mhm.
entertainment and media that none of these inspiring comedians who were greedy, who were disrespectful to me, who put out so much stuff out there about me,
Mm.
like I'm like, look at where you're at now, and I'm not putting no shame to it, but it's like these people back in 2009 to 2010 didn't help me once get to where I'm at, but
Right.
fast forward from that point on, I've met so many people in the industry that I know I can call up and say, how can I get X, Y, and Z, or how can I get involved? Because these people surely weren't helping me and they weren't authentically being a friend or that comedian,
Right.
And comedy is just that. My personal opinion, it's very greedy, and it's
Mhm.
very tough to break in if you are not a straight guy. If you're a woman, it's difficult. If you're a gay man, it's difficult.
Yep.
But I think after, of course, pandemic hit, and I think gave a lot of creative, a lot of people in the podcast world,
Yes.
people like myself, gave us the opportunity to just be able to like, now is the time to do it on your own. However, you're going to figure it out, you're going to figure it out. You're going to connect with the right people. You're going to collaborate with the right people, and you're going to make
Mhm.
shit happen. And again, fast forward to, or going backwards 2, 3 years ago, I reached out to somebody who I had met at Outfest, who happens
Mhm.
to be a writer, director, and producer. And it's in the process of her feature film being kind of in the making. And I said, how can I support? Because I'm done with giving my money to some of these organizations who don't
Mm.
care about me, who don't put the time and energy into me. So
Right.
how do I help other producers? How do I give them money, or how do I support them and sponsor them? And so we had a great call. I became an associate producer on her feature film that's still in the making. And from there, back in September of last year, one of her producers actually reached out to me for a short film, which is El Marihuano's short film.
Hey.
That is hitting, we're submitting the film to different film festivals. We have some good news that's going to be coming up that I can't mention. But I became an associate producer on that short film. And so I just felt like, even though things weren't lining up back then when I was doing comedy, I felt
Mhm.
like I was speaking into existence that I still wanted to be in this industry at some level. And
Yeah.
this is, yeah, I mean, I do have my 9 to 5, my part-time job, because I think with pandemic, it it made me realize that I don't think I could go back to a corporate job, this, like 9 to 5. I mean, if people in tech, if people at Meta, Facebook, Instagram can work from
Mhm.
home, I can work from home too. I'm
Yeah.
not making the money that they're making, but like I'm so done with it. I'm so done
Yes.
with not living, I guess, my true authentic self, but also my
Mhm.
creativeness. And I feel like having this part-time job now in this moment is giving me the other 20, 30 hours to be able to be creative and figuring out how to, make my creative self, or
Yes.
my para productions, or me as an associate producer,
Mhm.
a full-time job. So
Yeah, that's amazing. Sometimes we take paths and we follow a certain way, and in one way or another, it leads us to where we need to be. Um, and I
absolutely.
appreciate that you are being a voice, being representative of the Latinx community, because
yes, there's nothing, um let me take that back. Not there's nothing, but our deepest desire, or my deepest desire, is for us to be able to live authentically. Um, and the world makes that hard sometimes.
Right.
It makes it hard. So, like you were saying in comedy, if you're a woman, if you're gay, if you're, a lesbian, or you belong to this family, it's difficult. And or being in spaces that are queer spaces or LGBTQIA plus spaces, and being, like you said, the small percentage of Latinos that are there, or people of color that are there. So that's really, really important. And it means a lot when you go to those spaces and you see people that reflect who you are and your community. I was lucky enough to go to one of the events for Outfest and see a couple of films, and the open bar was amazing.
Right. We know how to
And
throw parties, that's for sure.
you guys know how to throw parties. It was an open
Yeah.
bar. It was just, we had such a great time. And I went with two of my friends and friends of the show. Oh, no. I'm trying to think of what their aliases were on the show. Tony Moreno and, oh my God.
Who?
The
El
other
prof?
person, who was a profesora. Yes,
Professora. Yeah.
profesora. We went to Outfest, and yeah, there was a little bit more color sprinkled. When we went, this was obviously pre-pandemic, but it is so, so, so important, because a lot of times the genius is there in our communities. What's
Yes.
different is the opportunity. So we need individuals like you who are giving opportunities, and working with organizations to say, hey, like, look at us, we're doing some things here. So
Right.
I'm excited for this short film that you worked on. And, hey, if you want to come on and drop the news on sexual frequency whenever you can give it, we will gladly have you. We will gladly have you. And I know that you're going to continue, doing that work. I can, as you were sharing, you could see just how passionate, you are about it. And again, it really is so important. I wanted to give you a minute to kind of plug what you have going on too, that you do live on your Instagram, which is Brunch and Pride. Do you want to
Yes.
share a little
Yes.
bit about that?
Yeah,
Oh.
so a little bit of a brunch in pride. So again, 3 years ago, and I got this push from, I got to give her credit, Alma, if she's watching this, who is a good friend, but a mentor as well to me. She had actually brought up the question even back then, like, she was like, Robert, you need to do stuff, there's, in like the gay community, like you're, the information, you have the knowledge and all that stuff. And I kind of, at first I took it as offensive because I feel like nobody should have to feel like, oh, I have to be gay to do something, right? To be an advocate or to be, whatever you want to create. Like, I don't think I have to be, a woman of color to create something for women of color. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of me. But then I took a step back and I'm like, when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, she's actually right. Nobody's doing this. Nobody's doing, and if I'm not doing it, then who else will do it, right? So the whole Brunch and Pride kind of was um, a pilot thing for me because right the year that the pandemic hit was the that year I wanted to do an in-person kind of like
Yes.
networking brunching in pride with a lot of people, especially in the Bay Area, because there's a lot of filmmakers and people in media and entertainment in Oakland and San Francisco who happen to be Latinx or a person of color, um, and then pandemic hit, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And I was like, oh, well, nobody's doing anything on Instagram Live, so
Right.
I might as well do it there. And of course, I had no graphic designer. I didn't do anything. So I was creating my own little like, stories with the
Yeah.
create and all that stuff. And it was a hit. I got a lot of feedback. A lot of people were like, oh my God, like I even had one of, I mean, yeah, she's a good fan of mine, but she's one of my cousins. She's like, I'm so glad that you had this person on talking about this story because I'm dealing with, my son, who is transitioning, and
Right.
so I was like, wow, I didn't know I had an impact. Even though I'm not making money off of it, I still had an impact. And
Yes.
I remember being in comedy, and a few people were like, well, you're not that funny. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever.
Rude.
But but at the end of the day, I was like, well, if I can make one person smile and laugh, I've
Yes.
done my job. I feel like
Yep.
I've been successful. So I felt like, okay, this is a success. So I was like, I need to continue to do this. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll do something for, Hispanic Heritage Month that year. But the different alignments didn't line up for that,
Right.
So, and I think the reason why it was a lot of personal stuff was going on, and then we're like, are we still, in this closet of the pandemic? So then I
Right.
was like, aha, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna do a women of color panel, and I'm gonna do
Mm.
a Brunch and Pride series called, um, chistes. I called it cocktails. So I did a
Mhm.
live, and I had four, women of color who happen to be in media and entertainment. I did that, and it kind of just grew into like, why if I did it last year for Pride, I got to do it this year again.
Yeah.
So at that point, I did have a graphic designer. We did it last year. This year will be the third year. This month will be the third
Congrats.
annual of Brunch and Pride. And we have, a filmmaker who happens to be a part of the flight crew. Um,
Mm.
we have Rose JC Cepeda. We have Jocelyn Glenn, who is a writer producer. We have Andrew Laura Cervantes, who's actually the writer director of El Marihuano, and of course Jocelyn too
Nice.
is producer. So it's just having these conversations because again, when my friend Alma was like, you need to kind of do this, because nobody's doing it. And yes, a lot of people are asking me, when are you going to have it in person? When are you going to do it where you can? And at the end of the day, I'm coming from a zero budget. I think the only thing I'm paying for is the graphic designer.
Right.
So looking for those sponsors, looking for even contributors or collaborators to
Mhm.
do it is the end goal. And I think also too, right now we're just kind of still in this pandemic. So, when you have these in-person events, it's a liability, right? Especially if pandemic or no pandemic, you have to have entertainment insurance. So
Mhm.
luckily I know that because being in the event world, you need that kind
Right.
of
Right.
insurance. So Brunch and Pride, it's happening June 5th, June 18th, and June 26th, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, on my IG Live. So that's what's
Yes.
happening.
Make sure to follow Robbie. Where can they find you? On what's your
You can
handle?
find me on Craigslist like 10 years ago. No, you can find me on Instagram at Funny Robbie Rob. And then you can, I do have TikTok, but I don't really use TikTok as much.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook, Robert Barra. I have an actual like page and a Facebook page. And then on LinkedIn for all those professionals who are cochinos. So, you know.
We need a market there.
We need to market there. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna transition, and I'm gonna ask you just a couple, of sexy questions.
Okay.
We're gonna go through them pretty quickly. So I'm gonna just, ask some questions and share as much as you would like.
Can I say plead
Um,
the fifth?
you definitely can if you would like to plead the fifth. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so when was the last time that you self-pleasured?
This morning.
Oh, and to what? What did you self-pleasure to? Uh-oh.
Trans porn.
Oh, oh my God. Can I just tell you, trans orgy is the shit. Like, that's one of my
I
top
ain't
right now.
hating, but I'm like, can I be transgender woman, please?
I love me some trans orgy porn.
Right.
Okay. What is your favorite body part?
Oh, ooh, quick. Oh my goodness. I would say a man's chest.
Hair or no hair?
Both. Well,
Oh.
wait. Rewind. Is it on the bottom and is it shaven or like, are we
No, on
talking
the chest. Hair
on
on
the
the
chest?
chest. Hmm.
I would say both
Okay, you can
because I can
appreciate
flip
both.
it off if he gets crazy with me like that.
Okay, so clearly we know that you enjoy booty play, but have you ever had any type of sexual encounter with a female?
um, I want to be respectful. So when I was 21, I mean, I think I kissed her chi-chis, but like, I mean, is chi-chis even
That counts.
respectful?
That
That counts.
Yes,
But
that counts,
then,
and that's respectful. We'll count that as respectful.
Chi-chi
yeah,
kiss
and
and caviar
yeah,
dreams.
Chiqui's kisses, beautiful, beautiful. We are really good friends now, and she's married, and I respect her. So hopefully, she's not watching this or her husband.
We will not say any names. Okay.
Yes, we won't.
Forever.
But,
Let's hear the but.
prior to the pandemic, I've had well, if you consider one encounter, but we did it twice, and then another encounter, a different person 3 times. I actually had sex with a transgender guy, and he still had
Okay.
his. I don't know if
I love
we
that.
be disrespectful.
You
I
can
mean, not disrespectful. To be respectful, he
yes.
had his woman parts still. And I was like, damn, is this what straight guys are talking about? I'm like, this is amazing. And I was like, but I wish there was dick right for both of us. So
Right. See, this is my appeal with like trans porn. So
right.
okay, so next question is forever bay or we can all play. So monogamy or open, non-monogamy.
If I was 21, I would say open, but now that I'm 39, monogamy.
Okay. What is one thing that you haven't tried but you would like to?
One thing I want to try, but I haven't. I'm like, I've done a cholo, I've done a black guy, I've done Asian. I would say a threesome with like like a cisgender straight couple. Yeah.
Mm,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
I love how adventurous you are.
Or maybe like with a wife or a girlfriend watching me and her man, because I'll be like, girl. I'm like, I got this.
I love that. I love that. I would watch. Okay, if you tap into the energy of your cock right now, what would it say in 3 words or less?
Feed me. But that was 2 words.
That's
No,
okay, that
that's
counts. Oh my god, Robbie, thank you so much for that. That was a lot of fun. We do have to move on to the next
okay.
segment of the night.
Okay.
We will be having more of Robbie. If you join us for our Pillow Talk segment after the pod, we will be playing Rapid Fire Pride Edition. So make sure you stay tuned in. But now we want to pass it over to the high priestess of the night because it is time for Horny Astrology. We've been waiting patiently. We want to know what's the best way to prepare for the heavens this month, girl. Let us know.
Oh my god, guys. Can you feel it? We are finally out of eclipse season.
Yes.
Like, thank the Lord.
Yes,
'cause
Lord.
This shit has been killing me. And June is giving us some time to chill from all of the cosmic happenings because there's not a whole lot going on this month. But we kick off Friday with Mercury going direct.
Yay.
So we are not in reggaeton anymore.
Yes.
And let me tell you, like, this has probably been the worst Mercury retrograde for me in a long time, so I'm glad that it's over.
Yes.
We don't hear a lot about other planets going retrograde, but on Saturday the 4th is going to be going retrograde. And for the next few months, this is the time to start setting and keeping boundaries within our social circles. So, boundaries are important because they allow us to continue to be true to ourselves. And, baby, nobody knows you like you do. So, set those
Facts.
boundaries so you don't get lost in the sauce, unless, that's your thing. If you want to get lost in the sauce, right? Then on the 14th, we have a full moon in Sagittarius, also known as the strawberry moon.
I thought you were gonna say Sagittarius.
I can't say that because, maybe like
You're right.
maybe my future power couple Bay is Sagittarius because
Gotcha.
I'm channeling, Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Gotcha.
But according to Imani Ray, who's an astrologer, the strawberry moon allows room for luck, love, and prosperity, making it the perfect time to manifest your greatest desires. And since we're out of eclipse season, we are all free to start manifesting again. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited for that too.
Yes.
And how do you guys manifest? And for those in the chat too, feel free if you want to share how do you manifest what you want?
Okay, I've had some really powerful things that I'm manifesting. I feel like Kinky Bay is on the way, baby. We've been taking sensual, been doing a lot of self pleasure. I've been self pleasuring to the feeling of him being here live in the flesh.
Ooh.
Next to me on my bed. What does it feel like to wake up next to them? What's
Ooh.
the day look like? I'm glowing, baby, because he coming. I could feel it. PYT, I'm gonna see you there. I mean, no, it's not him, but you know what I mean.
It's all good. It could be anybody. But that's great. I think this is big time to take the time and reflect on your love life. And, are you happy with it? Does it need some spice? Does it need a break? Whatever your unique situation is, use this time to really put out what you want. And if you're already there, take it to that next level that you think is impossible, because this is also a supermoon, which means the moon's a little bit closer to us and that the energy is heightened. So if you're feeling it like I am and you're itching to manifest, the 14th Sagittarius full moon is the perfect time. So as we make our way through the second half of the month, Thursday the 16th and Saturday the 18th bring in some not so sexy squaring energy. So during that time, don't make any major decisions on the 16th because Gemini is squaring Neptune and Pisces, causing a whole lot of insecurity and misunderstanding. And then on the 18th, so it's on the 18th, Venus is squaring Saturn and Aquarius, and this is not a good day for love in general. So just steer clear of any expectations that can leave you feeling deflated or rejected. And, if you're able to make it past these days, there's a really sensual cell happening the very next day on the 19th that is great for exploring romantic and sexual fantasies. So what better way, if you do get in a tiff with your boo, what better way to make up than with a new exciting way to share your love or your lust. And if you're not making up, the 20th brings in a sextile with Mercury and Jupiter that astrology.com says is a great day to log on to those dating apps and start swiping, because it's a perfect day to make a romantic connection.
Okay.
So put that in the calendar, the 20th, because I want to hear.
Kinky Bay. I'm looking for you.
So then the 21st brings in the summer solstice along with Cancer season.
Hey,
And,
that's
and a beautiful trine with Venus and Pluto that can bring a very special person into your life. This can be a new friends with benefits, a new partner in love or crime, just someone who will be of importance. So definitely, let me know if you meet somebody that day. I want all the tea. So
Yes.
write it down. Take a picture. I don't give a fuck. Do something.
Let us know.
And finally, the month wraps up with Venus moving out of Taurus and into social Gemini on the 22nd. So step up your flirting game during this transit and master your wordplay, because who doesn't love a quick tongue? I know
Hey.
I do.
Hey.
This was Horny Astrology, where we put the ass in astrology.
Yes. I love that.
Woo!
There's so much promise this month. Thank you for sharing.
I had a little bit of a difficult time because I'm like, there's not a lot happening. But when I got into it, when I got real deep into it, then you start to see, all
Listen,
the magic that can happen.
you gotta go deep.
Yeah.
That's you gotta. If you know anything about frequencies, is you gotta go deep. Thank you for sharing that with us. We are gonna end the show on that note, and stay tuned because we're staying on for talk. But we close the show like we do every single show, where we give homage to our ancestors. My mother herself, who told me to play with yourself every night so you know your body and you know what you like. This is Goddess
Oh,
Lore with Robbie Rob
woo-hoo.
High Priestess.
Rick Rock.
with the hard cock, and we will see you next
Yeah.
Wednesday at 9 p.m. Thank you for joining
Bye,
us.
Thanks,
y'all.
guys.
Shout out to Nico with the Robbie got robbed by Lil Rob.
Yeah, we can dissect those comments on Pillow Talk.
Yes.
All right. Peace out, y'all. Keep us, stay tuned on YouTube here. So, all right. Podcast out.
Once you go to the next one, yeah, we'll get
Yeah,
started.
it's on delay, but yeah, we're good. Since I muted it. Go ahead. We're good.
TV. We just wrapped up our show with funny Robbie Rob. It was so
What's
great. There was so much
Yes.
information that we had to share, so we had to wrap up the show really quick. But oh my gosh, we got so much good information for the astrology coming up in June with High Priestess. If you guys have questions for Priestess and her astrology, or if you have more questions for Funny Rob, because we had to speed it along. We didn't even get to the comments, which were pretty hilarious, talking about Robbie's Cuchina Chronicles.
Yeah.
But before that, we do want to say that Pillow Talk is brought to you by Infinity Studios. They do TV, podcasting, and radio. They are a studio in Monterey Park, which is about 10-15 minutes from downtown Los Angeles. They are a pod for creatives. So if you just need a space to create, Infinity Studios got you. They have green screen, TV. I mean, anything that you can think of in a studio, we have it here. So hit up Infinity Studios. You can find them on Instagram, on all platforms as Infinity Studios, because you know what? They are a studio for the fans. And that's really what it's all
Hey.
about, right? We put out content for the fans. That's why we do
Hey.
it. And when you hit them up, let them know that Goddess Loda sent you, Sexual Frequency, and Rick Rock.
Yes.
Okay, Rick, so let's get into those comments because that was some pretty hilarious shit that was going down.
Okay. Yeah. So, Nico was saying no, all of your stuff. Only check the shower to make sure there's no other hoes living there. And then she mentioned she wants to go to a tea party and
Yes.
then or plenty of fish.
Other than Craigslist.
other than
Have you guys used that? Plenty of fish.
I have not.
I have used
Brunch.
plenty
I
of
have
fish.
not. I think
You have?
I think yeah, I
I
have friends
have,
that
but
have.
that was years ago. Years ago, Plenty
Yeah.
of Fish was like probably the straight grinder for people.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I met actually. No, he was on Craigslist too. I met this Puerto Rican guy who happened to play football for New Mexico University for the pack wolves or
Oof.
the wolf packs or whatever. Oh my god, he was gorgeous. But you know what? Even though I'm a cochina, I'm a bitch, and so I knew he had a girlfriend. So you know what I did? He had a girlfriend. So you know what I did? One time we were messing in his. I think he had like a Bronco at the time because we were messing. Yeah,
I love
but I couldn't.
Broncos.
I couldn't host. I couldn't host. So we're in the back seat, and literally he, like he's done with his condom or whatever. He gets to the driver's seat, and I'm taking my time because I was like, oh, I gotta like put all my clothes on right. So I literally grabbed his condom and I put the fucking condom in the back seat of the passenger seat, and I put it in
Yeah.
there. And then I had some cute little 20s on, so I took those off and I put them in
Yes.
the back seat because I'm like, if his girlfriend wants to find out if he's cheating, she will find this. So I was like,
Yeah.
you think you're gonna be an ass to me? This is how I'm gonna get you back.
You
Flash
thought.
forward to that time we met.
Plot twist.
Yeah, plot twist, fast forward to that time we met. My friend used to work at this hotel and they had like a company party at Great America.
Mhm.
And she's like, oh, she's like, you're not going to believe who's here. Cause I had showed her pictures of who this guy I was messing with.
Right.
I guess he had recognized my friend and me because we had gone to some party at a club prior to that, like months ago.
Mhm.
And he had his shades on and he didn't even talk to like my friend, but I guess he was dating some girl that worked for the same hotel
Mm.
chain that she worked
Yeah.
for. And I was like, ooh, girl, did you tell her? Did you tell her
Ah, did you tell her those are my 20s in the back of the
right,
Bronco?
exactly. Shoot.
And then so Nico said too, Robbie got robbed by Little Rob.
Yep.
And
Had me
then
dead.
and then Chia commented, not Little Rob. Marlena just commented, I used plenty of fish before, but never caught a fish or tiburon.
Oh, I have actually not ever used plenty of fish, but one of our sisters found her now husband from Plenty of Fish. That was quite a few years ago now, but
Yeah.
I used it, but never met anybody because everybody on there was whack as fuck.
oh damn, that sucks.
Yep.
We need to have
Sorry.
a show on like what are the best like dating sites or hookup sites. We definitely have to do that. I didn't get a chance to mention this before we close the show, but I do want to give a shout out to International Horse Day, which is tomorrow. It's International Sex Worker Day. So it's been celebrated ever since June 2nd in 1975, where over 100 sex workers protested the inhumane working conditions in France. And not ironically enough, but as time has gone by, sex workers now have less and less rights. And it's about time that we recognize the importance of sex workers in our society. Like um, going to a sex worker or working with a sex worker, like it's an outlet for individuals to explore their sexuality, to explore touch. There was a time way back in the day when sex workers were coveted and respected, and we have just lost that. We have cheapened so much what we quote unquote think that sex is, or what individuals that go to sex workers are looking for. And that comes with a lot of like shame, like, our society just puts on people. And we need to fucking get over that shit, because sex is sex, pleasure is pleasure.
Right.
And there's no such thing. We talked about this, Robbie, yesterday. It's like there's no such thing as like gay sex, or like it's pleasure and it's sex, and people are gonna like what it is that they like.
Mhm.
um we need to get out of that, like that thinking of boxes and what it needs to look like, and also putting a value on individuals, like whatever derogatory names that we call. That's why particularly women, but men as well. But that's why I like to reclaim those, Like I very much tout myself as a slut, and a whore. Hey, whore me
Hey.
out, baby, kinky bae. You hear me? But normalizing those things, those desires, and those wants that I was actually driving with my friend Jerry and my sister, and we were high. I wasn't driving, we were at the park. Let me refrain that. We were at the park, we got high, we were at the park. And I was just contemplating how, even though I have this platform and I am very open about, how I feel and things that I do, there are still so many parts of my life that I keep between me and the people that I share it with, because even with this platform, I still feel that I would be stigmatized and put in a box. And that's what I'm really trying to, I'm trying for that to not be a reality, and I'm finding it hard to, like, hey, if I don't even want to share what's going on in my life because I'm fearful, maybe it's a little more of the, I don't want to say extreme side, but maybe a little more advanced. I don't know what the fuck you would call it.
Yeah.
A little more. I have less inhibitions. Let's put it that way, right? I'm a lot more open to a lot of things. But this is what we're trying to do on this platform, guys. So if in any way, shape, or form you guys have any ideas of what we can do, what we can talk about, how we can,
Yes, let's see
do
Rick's
this.
cock. I want to see it. Let's see
Let's
Rick's
do
hard
what?
cock.
See
Let's
Rick's
see Rick's
cock.
hard cock. Let's see Rick's hard cock.
That
I
might that might be for the next live event, because
That's
I
the
don't think
next
we
one,
can post
When
that
I'm
on
in
YouTube.
person
Yes,
There you go.
in July.
in July.
What were you gonna say, Priscilla?
I have just a couple things to say to that, to what you just said. We kind of talked about it before too. Like, whatever you do, whether it's quote unquote good or bad, someone is going to have an opinion. And
Mm,
or everybody's going to have an opinion, and they're all going to
Yeah.
be different, and you're always going to have those people who are like, "Oh my god," and those people who are like, "Yes, bitch," like put it out there, cuz we're all not necessarily doing the same things or whatever, but if you ask your girlfriends like certain fantasies that would be taboo or whatever, most of them would say that they've had that fantasy. So I think, just talking about stuff and making it more of a open dialogue is enough, but I totally hear you on, it's hard to be judged, especially on a huge platform, and we hear about, celebrities talking about this all the time, where they're themselves, but then they get kind of put to the fire for being themselves, and it doesn't
mm,
feel good, right?
right.
um but back to what you were saying about sex work, I actually just saw a documentary on this, and they were specifically talking about um the new age of sex work, right, with like OnlyFans, things like that, where they're actually being targeted with laws that are quote unquote to help, other things, and then it ends up putting them in danger. So specifically this documentary they were talking about like sex trafficking and laws against sex trafficking, and how you can't put things like ads on the internet or stuff like that. So then, the sex workers are having to just meet strangers randomly and like end up being in more dangerous situations. So
Yeah.
just a over encompassing thought there, as far as like what we vote for, who we back politically.
Mm,
um there's a lot of things that can skew your perception because you think you're doing a good thing, but in reality it's doing more harm than good. So just food for thought on that one.
Well, tell us the name of the documentary.
It was on Netflix, and I feel
Okay.
like it's a couple years old. It's not, I have to look at my recently watched, because
Okay.
I can't remember
Well,
off the
let us
top of my
know
head.
so we can throw it
Yeah,
up
definitely.
on IG, because I'm always wanting to learn more about that.
Yep.
going back,
Um
going back to your point, goddess, is that when we talk about, you had mentioned like about like trying to have these open conversations, but also like you don't want to be judged and all that. And I think that's part of what a lot of relationships lack is there's no communication. Whether it's a guy or a girl together or a girl and a girl, like there's no openness.
Mhm.
And the reason why I say that is because I recently met this guy on Bumble. You know, he lives in Atlanta, and we talk almost like every day. And he asked the question of would you want an open relationship? And I said, I respect open relationships because I know friends who have open relationships, but it's deep to the point where they communicate who they have sexual encounters with so that they can be safe. But
Right.
also, I said, I think for me in this moment, I'm saying no, I don't want an open relationship because why have an open relationship when like I'd rather just be single if that's the case because at the end of the day, I want somebody in my life. Now, the question I did ask to him or I posed was if my man could keep me happy in the bedroom, whether you're penetrating me or not, then I won't be looking for it. I won't have to go outside of my comfort zone and try to be like, oh, I can find 10 more inches. So let me go here to get that
Right.
fixation
Mhm.
because my man only has 8. You know,
Yeah.
but also it's like you need to have those open conversations with your partner because at the end of the day, like you go home, Rick goes home, you know, every your sister goes home, I go home.
Mhm.
I don't really know what you do with yourself, period, in your bedroom. And I can
Right.
care less because to me, at the end of the day, as long as you're a good human, is what matters to me, not with who are you sleeping with or who you're getting pleasure
Mhm.
for, because that doesn't come to mind. I mean, it comes to my mind, but I don't go thinking about like, well, does Rick really have a hard cock at the end of the night? Like, I don't go home thinking of that. I'm just like, is Rick a good person? Is what I want
Mhm.
to know. But
Right.
at the end of the day, I do care about people like how are you being pleasured? Because I think part of the problem of these heterosexual relationships is just that. Like I know friends in my circle who one person was very sexually active and liked porn and liked
Mhm.
sex, and the other significant person didn't like that.
Mhm.
And to me, it's like you have to match up. And I'm not saying sex is the end all be all, but I feel like you need to find that energy. You need to have
Yes.
that conversation. You need to
Your
be able.
frequency. That's what this
Right,
is about. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So I feel like, and also I told the guy that I've been talking to, like, I don't want to end up like my dad. And I hate to put it like that, but you know, my dad passed away when I was, you know, young.
Mhm.
Um, but he was in a previous marriage before he met my mom. And I felt
Mhm.
like, well, if he did his job right and she did her job right, then there wouldn't be me. But because
Mhm.
he was in this so-called in the process of a divorce, he met my mom, then you
Mhm.
have me, right? So it's
Right.
like I don't really believe in divorce, but
Mhm.
if that's part of the problem in society today that we can't be open about our sexual desires and what
Yep.
we like and we can't watch porn or we can't stick a fucking crystal in our ass, like then why
Thank
then
you.
why then why be in a relationship, period? You know, like I
Yeah.
don't want that drama, like, you know. So that's, anyways, I'm going off topic, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's you're right on with that, with what you're saying about openness and honesty. That's really what it's about. I do want to do rapid fire and we have to go, but so it's gonna be really quick. So just the
Okay.
first thing that comes to the top of your head. White claw or white nah?
White, nah.
Shaken or stirred?
Stirred.
The patriarchy.
The what?
The patriarchy.
Can I be on the bottom still?
Madonna or Lady Gaga?
Oh, why? Why did you have to pose this question? Oh, I don't really care about these new Gen X queers, so I'm gonna go with Madonna.
I mean, icon.
Icon, yeah.
BJ or bend over?
Ugh. Well, if I'm doing a BJ while the guy's bent over, yes,
Ooh.
I'll do them.
Okay. Top, bottom, or sideways?
Top, bottom, or sideways?
To me, sideways is like you're versatile.
Oh, okay.
You do
No,
it
bottom.
all.
Bottom.
Bottom, okay. What's your favorite musical?
Thought shit.
I love it.
I'm not
And then
that gay, okay? I'm not that gay. I don't do
what is
musicals.
what's the first word that you think of when I say pussy?
Dick.
All right, guys, we got to wrap it up and end it there. Rob, thank you so much for joining us. It was such a good time. Make sure you guys
Thank
check out his
you.
Instagram, Funny
Yes.
Robbie Rob. Yes, on
Correct. Yes.
IG. Yes, make sure you check out Infinity Studios, Horny,
Horny.astrology.
Horny.astrology,
Rick Rocks 00
Rick Rock
at
00.
IG.
And Lotus Hustle. Thank you. We will see you guys. Thank all of you for joining us in the chat. Marlena, again, happiest of birthdays to Chia, baby. We
Happy
love
birthday.
you.
Happy birthday,
Nico
Chia.
and the AE. Mwah, mwah. Thank you. We shall see you next week, baby.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.